Welcome to the Worst Squared Fantasy Football Podcast, a full-service year-round podcast with weekly episodes to provide fans with info on their teams and players. Whether you're a newbie or a longtime veteran of the fantasy wars, Worst Squared is the podcast for you. Hey everybody, welcome into Worst Squared Fantasy Football Podcast. I am Tom with Doc and Tobin. We are getting ready. I almost did it.
Yep, you did.
I almost
3 weeks in a row, but he almost is a kick saving a beauty.
That's right.
It's 2.5 weeks. We'll only give him half credit for this week, okay? Since he
Fair enough.
Good call.
good shot on goal, though.
We'll start with news and notes around the league. Robbie Anderson basically gets into a fight with his position coach on the field in Los Angeles, gets kicked out of the game by the head coach, and promptly gets traded to the Cardinals.
He gone.
Yeah. Well, he gone, and he ain't the first one in Carolina to be gone this week and next week.
We'll see.
Next week's going to be an interesting week in Carolina to see. A lot of nameplates going to be being changed there, I believe.
Sweet Caroline.
I'm not going to take an over-under bet on that one. Over-under 1.5.
I'll take the over.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll go over on that one.
I think I'm taking the under.
Okay. But he got traded because?
Marquise Brown missed 6 weeks, a small fracture in his foot on literally the last play of the game. Awesome as a Marquise Brown owner. That's fantastic.
Well, at least it was the last play of the game, not the first play of the game.
Yeah, the way that the Cardinals played, it could have been the first play of the game. It wouldn't matter.
Didn't matter, did it?
No. D-Hop is activated. He is going to play Thursday night against the Saints.
Oh, yeah.
Left guard Justin Pugh is out for the season with a knee injury, but D-Hop, I don't know. I wish it was one of those scenarios we could that he didn't play until Sunday, but playing Thursday night, this could be too quick a turnaround.
I don't see how you can put him in the lineup with 3 days worth of practice.
Well, he's still been in this new rule that they can come back with 2 weeks to go in their suspension. That's what has been going with Willie Gay in Kansas City.
Well, he gets to come back to the
but not practice.
Yeah.
But he's at least in the facility in the meeting rooms.
Right. Like Deshaun is back with the Browns right now. He can attend meetings. He cannot, and he can work out, but he cannot practice, cannot be on the practice field.
Cannot attend or participate in practices or organize team activities based around practice.
Well, just make it disorganized. You're good to go.
Well, they tried that a couple times with Tom Brady. How much did it cost him?
Yeah, well, Robert Kraft just writes checks.
That's right. He doesn't care. Carson Wentz having surgery on broken finger from the Thursday night debacle. He'll be out 4 to 6 weeks. They are not putting him on IR. They are hoping, like Dak, to be able to that he'll come back early, even though Dak didn't come back early. So,
Dr. Jarrett was wrong.
Yeah, I'm welcoming back Taylor Heineke. I mean, he did okay for us last year.
But that offensive line, no matter who you put back, there's going to have issues.
You know, and Heineke might be a little better. He's a little bit more mobile, I think, than Carson Wentz is currently. And I think this is a big upgrade for Terry McLaurin.
Oh, it's definitely, if you're a Terry McLaurin owner, you're definitely liking this transition to Heineke as the quarterback. They had good chemistry last year, did a good job. But if you're a Commodes fan,
Yeah,
can it get any worse?
Feel sorry for you already.
Oh no, it's going to get it's going to get better because Jim Irsay came out and basically said, "Yeah, we need to look at Dan Snyder and possibly remove him." I don't think this was Irsay going off on his own. I think he was told to go out there and disparage the Dan.
Well, if according to the ESPN reports from last week that the Dan has dirt on everybody,
it's
he's
getting ready
got
to
a
come
vacuum
out.
cleaner on Irsay.
Well,
Irsay's got a lot of dirt underneath those nails.
yeah, but he's already got so much of it out there. I mean, what else are they? I mean, there's going to be stuff that's going to come out.
Oh, it's going to be a very interesting offseason for the NFL when they try to strip the Dan of his franchise in the winter meetings.
Well, yeah, that's going to happen. Yeah, I mean,
They're going to wait until after the Super Bowl and do it that way. It doesn't interfere with the season and stuff, so they can kind of cover this up with the other off-season activities.
There wasn't a vote Tuesday. There wasn't even a meeting about it. They postponed it because Irsay popped off, and because basically
it wasn't on the docket anyway.
Well, it was going to be on the docket. They decided not to go into it primarily because they are not ready to release the findings yet.
You mean the 68,000 emails or something like that they should be releasing?
Well, they should release all that, but they retained Mary Jo White to finish the investigation that was already started, or to do the NFL's version of it. But it's going to come out. They did the bad stuff. It's going to come out that the NFL knew about this stuff. It's going to come out that the NFL, through some back channel, released the names of all the people that are independently represented by, I forget the two counselors, but the Dan has all of that information. They contacted him. It's going to come out that the NFL
colluded,
somehow released that to Dan Snyder, and the NFL is going to be in big trouble over
this.
The
NFL is going to be, we could see a whole new order of leadership in the NFL, because
they'll just write a check and it'll go away.
Well, the problem with this is the Gruden lawsuit is ongoing, and the Gruden lawsuit was the judge ruled in favor of Gruden. It will not go to arbitration, and so
but
everything
the NFL
is going to come out.
Has appealed that, so they're going to keep appealing it as high as to the Supreme Court, just like they did last time.
Everything is going to come out with the Dan Snyder thing, and Gruden's going to be proven to be he was surgically dissected from the league for some reason to try to camouflage this, cover it up. I don't know what it was.
It was definitely a cover up,
but it's going to be interesting. But the commodes, how can you have a football team? How can you as a player perform in the field when ownership is so goofy at this point in time?
It's the worst. The other thing, of course, that came out of the meetings is basically Jera showing how cheap he is. He wants to get out of paying Roger Goodell $64+ million per year. That he's got some sort of bonus clauses that are not based on net profits and losses. I'm sure they're based on negotiation of deals and that type of thing.
Well, what really happened is I sent Jerry an email and a quick text as they were going into the meetings. I told him I'd do it for half.
Okay.
I bring you guys along. We'll split up the other half with you guys, and I think we could figure it out for that.
We appreciate that.
I mean, hell, we'll give him a $10 million discount.
Yeah.
Oh man,
problem solved.
The other problem is, why is Goodell worth $64 million when the best player in the NFL is worth 50?
Well, that's called look at the money lining those owners' pockets.
Well, and see, one of the issues that's going to come out really quickly is when you have commentators making $30 million a year and players making $1 million a year, there's going to be an issue with that.
So I explained this to Ellie the other night. The Dan 23 years ago bought the Redskins for $800 million.
Mm-hmm.
They're currently valued at almost $6.5 billion.
Yeah, well, Mark Cuban bought the Dallas Mavericks for, I believe, $28 million back in 1990. What was it? 1989, 1990, something like that. And they're now currently worth $3.8 billion.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But the players aren't seeing the money, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, the players are seeing plenty of money. Let's be honest, but
they are. But there's
a bigger pot going in the owners' pockets. These guys don't feel sorry for these owners.
No, don't feel sorry for the owners at all.
A couple other news and notes as we move along here. The Rams left tackle Joe Noteboom now torn Achilles out for the season.
Hold on, they had a left tackle?
They did. They are now down to one offensive lineman that started the season. And then the Ravens have signed Deshaun Jackson. Yes, he's back. They've signed him to the practice squad. The expectation is he'll get elevated this week to play.
To be the 35-year-old deep threat.
Yes.
Let that one percolate for just a second. 35-year-old deep
He can
threat.
probably still pick him up and put him down to a 4.3, 4.35 range. Because the man, one thing that doesn't fade, it fades, but not as quickly. Speed hangs on till you're about 40 or so.
Darryl Green.
I'd take Darryl Green in a foot race against most people in the NFL at his age right now.
All right,
we'll go to Thursday night. Commodes 12, Bears 7. This was ugly. We talked about Wentz's fractured ring finger. Brian Robinson started, went 17 for 60 and a touchdown. Congratulations to him coming back from the butt shot. We talked pre-show about Justin Fields 191 and 12 for 88 on the ground, but they have to figure out how to use him rushing more. That was the true difference maker in the second half, that Fields was just running loose through our defense. Darnell Mooney 7 of 68, but he fumble caught a game-winning TD at the goal line.
Okay, the only good thing I say about this game is I was smart to pick up the Commode's defenses in every league that I play in and start them. And they got me double-digit points because I knew that Fields and the Bears would not be able to put anything on the field whatsoever.
The only good thing about this game is that it's a week behind us.
No doubt.
Yeah. And, we were talking before the game about Fields, and Fields looked better, but he still don't look the part. His body language doesn't register as being comfortable or even.
I think what you're seeing with him is they're trying to force him into being a pocket passer. And in the second half, you turned him loose a little bit, and you saw what he can really do.
They need to look at Buffalo and look at the Josh Allen offense with him. Roll him out, let him use his legs to make some plays, do that type of stuff with him. But number one thing they got to do, they got to get an offensive line and some weapons.
They have weapons is what it is. There's a reason that these quarterbacks are good at Ohio State.
Because they're loaded.
They have got wide receivers and running backs for days.
Yeah, their number 8 wide receiver would be number 1 wide receiver at most schools.
Yep.
Yeah. And every time I think of Fields, I think of 2 words. Actually, 3. Jake from State Farm. I guess that's 4. So
counting is hard.
Yeah. Who he couldn't be that when he was at Georgia. And Jake
he's a doctor, not a mathematician.
Counting is hard.
Well, especially when I get my shoes off.
All right, we spent way too much time on that game. Move along.
Eagles 26, Cowboys 17 on Sunday night. Jumped out 20-3. The Eagles did. The 3 coming for the Cowboys right at the end of the half on a field goal. But Miles Sanders still doing well, 18 for 71 and a touchdown. A.J. Brown, 5 for 67 and 1. Then a late Devonta Smith TD. Dallas, Zeke is back?
Ish.
Okay. Toby Keith had a song, I'm as good as I was once, but not as good as I once was. This is his once, this is his once one, not his one once.
13 for 81 and a touchdown. He normally kills the Eagles.
Yeah, those are good numbers, but they're not. That's his pop-up running back numbers. If there is such a thing, there's not such a thing as a pop-up running back. This is running back who had a good game, who will come crashing to earth next week, just like Cooper Rush did this last week.
Maybe, yeah. CD led Dallas 5 for 68, but he couldn't shake loose well enough, or Cooper Rush couldn't get the ball to him on what would have been a long TD.
He would have dropped it anyway.
That Dak would have probably hit him. We go on to the debacle that is the Broncos in primetime. Chargers 19, Broncos 16 in overtime.
Please tell me they're done in primetime. No, I mean, they've been, 4 or 5 out of 6 weeks they've been primetime?
There's 2 more.
Jesus, help us.
One's on Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Wow.
Thank God I won't be watching that one.
I put on here the Broncos are single-handedly setting football back to the 80s and early 90s.
No, let's go back to the 40s and 50s.
I was going to say leather helmets, please.
Yes, please.
Brandon Staley, in my opinion, is killing the Chargers fantasy players. He is not letting them cut loose. There was a great example they showed post-game of one time where Justin Herbert had Joshua Palmer or Gerald Everett on a little corner pass that would have picked up the first down by 10 yards. He looks at it, decides he's not going to throw it, looks back across the field to Mike Williams, who's triple covered, and then comes back to his dump-off pass to Austin Eckler, who gets a yard when they needed 3.
And got killed.
Why is that Staley's fault? Why didn't Herbert just throw the ball?
I think he's being coached, hey, if it's not wide open, don't throw it.
Well, one of the things that Herbert has so far regressed as a quarterback, it looks like, so far this year.
I think he's still hurting.
He's hurting, and that offensive line is not good, especially when you're missing your center, your left tackle. You're missing the 2 most important players on your offensive line, which they ain't coming back anytime soon, folks. Lindley might play this week, but he's more than likely out this week and the week after that.
Yeah, Slater's out for the year. We already knew that.
And he doesn't look comfortable. He's still hurt. Why isn't if he's not comfortable and is still hurt? Why isn't he taking the easy throw to Everett?
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, and so
I didn't understand it. I mean, it was wide open.
We keep putting Herbert in our top 5 quarterbacks, and he is a top 5 quarterback as far as talent goes. But production level this year, he's not a top 5 quarterback right now.
I agree. I own him in a league, and I'm sitting here looking at my backup for him. Unfortunately, is Russ. I picked somebody up this week.
You picked up Russ Wilson?
No, I had Herbert and Russ as my two going out of the draft. Felt pretty good. Yeah, we're scraping the waiver wire this week.
You didn't listen to me about Russ, did you?
So Russ has the lat injury. He also picked up a hamstring injury in this game. He says he's going to play, but we'll get to that in later games.
Did he play last week?
He did. He was good in the first half, 183 yards and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Eckler did run one in here. I lost a bet because Justin Herbert to throw one touchdown pass, really? He couldn't throw one.
Well, no, because he knew you had a bet on it.
But Greg Dulcich, who was their rookie draft pick, he looks like the guy to own here.
He is of all the fantasy players, if you could have one from Denver right now, he is the only one that you would want at this point in time. Although Latavius Murray's on the list, but how far down, we're not sure.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon apparently made up with Nathaniel Hackett today and is supposed to start this weekend.
Because the second half, have you ever seen a more unhappy person on the sidelines than Melvin Gordon on Monday night on second half?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
In the game of the week,
Bills 24, Chiefs 20. Not as high scoring as our playoff game, but Josh Allen 329 and 3. Most of the damage going to Diggs, 10 for 148. Davis, 3 for 74. Both had touchdowns. Dawson Knox got the game winner. Singletary was PPR good, 17 for 85, 4 for 22. Pat was 3 for 38, 338 for 2. Juju, 5 for 113 and 1. Kelsey, 8 for 108, didn't score. And, of course, we know that CEH disappeared again.
Hello? The CH disappeared? Are you surprised?
I'm more surprised when he shows up.
Yeah. When he shows up, it's like, oh, who the hell's that guy?
Well, I'm a little surprised that he didn't show up in this one because Buffalo has been traditionally vulnerable to the run.
Yeah, well, one of the things about this game I saw was it seemed like Kansas City was trying to force the football down the field with Pat. They didn't take what was given. They looked like they were going for the knockout shot every time. And Buffalo defended it really well. I expected Pachenko to have a lot more input in this game than what CEH did, just because he's better at picking up blitzes, and it looks like he's better out of the backfield catching the ball than what CEH is. But Kansas City doesn't look right. They didn't look like last week when they beat the Raiders. They just don't look right now. Don't know what it is, but they just don't. They don't pass the eye test at this point in time. Not like they have in the past where they absolutely made your eyes pop out of your head.
So you don't think that was a preview of the AFC Championship game right there?
I'm not saying that because I think Kansas City is Andy Reid is the coach. Andy Reid will get it put together and get it done. But right now, Kansas City looks like they did last year at this point in time. They just didn't look like one of the cylinders was off a little bit. And it's Kansas City. They got all the talent. They have everything they need with which to be able to go forward, except one thing: a deep threat.
Yeah. Now, apparently, the big news for Kansas City fans that you should pay attention to, they restructured Kelsey's contract and freed up over $3 million in cap space. So now they're almost $4 million.
OBJ.
I really thought it was going to be for CMC. I told a couple people that whoever lost Buffalo, Kansas City was probably going out and trading for CMC.
Yeah, but Kansas City won't give up a first this year and a second next year for CMC.
Well, yeah, and
that's with Carolina eating most of the money at that point in time.
Well, Carolina's not eating any money because they've restructured him. This year, he's only making $1 million in salary.
But they're going to the deals the deals I've read show Carolina eating salary for the future. That way, they can fit him in the salary cap for these other teams as well.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. There's no salary cap hit for other teams because they don't take the.
But what they can do is they can take next year's money, the year after that money after that, and change it into a signing bonus, give it to him, and then if he gets traded, Carolina eats that salary, that signing bonus, therefore lowering his cap hit for the next 3 years.
There's no way Carolina's going to take $30 million in dead money.
No way.
If they get first and a second back, they will.
No way. Nope.
We thought the same thing about Cleveland a few years back.
It's not medicinal in Kansas yet, Doc, but maybe Oklahoma.
No, those I've actually read where that's what they're going to do that. That way they get higher draft picks back for doing that to make CMC more readily available to more teams.
Are you high?
Yeah, that's a good call there. The other thing that they've really come out and said is that the two teams that are most likely to trade for CMC are the Rams and the 49ers. Now, I can't imagine how deadly CMC is with the 49ers in the zone blocking scheme.
That'd be ugly.
Oh, it'd be crazy. Moving on, Bengals 30, Saints 26. Joe Burrow showed up in a Jamar Chase National Championship jersey and then went off. 303, 4 for 25, and 1 on the ground. Then Chase, 7 for 132 and 2, proving that he is a top-flight fantasy wide receiver 1.
Oh, we knew he was. It was just a matter of time before they got their offense put together and broke out, which is about the same time they did that last year. And but Chase went on his wonderful streak.
Yeah. A guy named Rashid Shaheed got his first touch in the NFL and scored on it. Didn't do anything else in the game. Kamara, 19 for 99, 6 for 25.
You couldn't get one more, really? Come on.
You wanted that 4-point bonus, did you?
I mean, come on, man.
Traquan Smith got the other receiving TD for the Saints. The Saints, ugh.
Well, no, their defense will keep them in games, and their offense is good enough with which to put points on the board. Their problem was they can't consistently generate drives down the field because their quarterbacks are so poor.
They're a 500 team at best.
Yeah, one thing you want to pay attention to is Jameis Winston might be a healthy non-starter Thursday night.
Yeah.
Basically saying they're going with Andy Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
Pats 38, Browns 15. Ramondre Stevenson had Nick Chubb hold his beer and went for 1976 and 2 touchdowns and 4 for 15 through the air, while Chubb was 12 for 56 and 1 for 14 and cost me a matchup with Doc in one league. Tyquan Thornton, the rookie, made his appearance known this week, rushing for a TD and catching one for the Pats. He had been on my watch list. I picked him up in a couple of leagues. Should be very popular in pickups this week. And then, of course, Amari Cooper caught the lone Browns TD.
Hey, how did he cost a game when I beat you by like 40 points, didn't I?
He was one of the guys.
That's the whole reason why your whole team was the reason why you got
the game before is why I got beat by him.
Yeah.
It was Burrow to Chase, and he was like doing a dance every time.
No, I only did a dance one time when we were sitting in the clubhouse. That's probably the game winner right there.
Yep.
How did that cost a game when you got beat by 40?
Well, I mean, if he would have went for his usual 120 and 1 or 2 touchdowns,
I would still beat you by 18.
And if James Robinson would have got his 2 touchdowns that he deserved,
all I hear is excuses.
And if your aunt had balls, Tommy,
she'd be my uncle.
And by the way, if Nick Chubb went up, I would have kicked Tobin's ass even worse because I had him in that league.
Great.
So I was willing to sacrifice Chubb this week so I could beat Tommy that week. I can tell you why the Browns lost this game in one stat line.
Coaching.
Nick Chubb touched the ball 13 times.
Yep.
13 times. The best player on the field touched the ball 13 times.
The Patriots had 14 guys in the box, Doc. What are you going to do? I mean, it was total scheme. It's Belichick.
Yeah. I mean, the coaching, he touched the ball. You have to create ways to put the ball in Nick Chubb's hands.
No, you just flat out need to give it to him. You don't need to.
Okay.
You don't need to bring Kareem Hunt in and give him 8 carries or whatever it was that he got. I don't
disagree. I've been screaming for 2 years since we've been doing the podcast to give the man the damn ball.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see what he looks like when Deshaun starts.
I think he's going to absolutely go off.
Oh, I do too. Because if they stack the box, Deshaun is going to.
He's got the talent to beat him.
Yep.
Yep.
Moving into a game in Doc's division, Colts 34, Jags 27. Jonathan Taylor didn't play, but Deion Jackson did and went off 12 for 42 and a touchdown on the ground, 10 for 79 through the air.
Wow.
He injured his quad towards the end of the game, so he didn't play a lot of the fourth quarter. I'm expecting JT back this week. He practiced today on Wednesday as we record this, so I'm sure he's going to play this week, although I was kind of sure last week.
I'm not sure.
Michael Pittman, 13 for 134. Matty Ice, nearly 403, hitting Alec Pierce on the game-winning TD with 17 seconds left.
Yeah, the Colts looked like the offense we expected them to have when they traded for Matty Ice. That being said, their defense can't stop anybody. If the Jags put up that kind of numbers off a defense that we expected to be fairly stout, but injury-prone so far.
Yeah, now they're supposed to get Shaquille/Darius Leonard back this week, so that maybe that'll help. As we said,
just in time for the King to light him up.
That's right. Trevor Lawrence ran for 2. vulturing from James Robinson, and then Jermichael Hasty stole another one with a big run that anybody could have ran in.
What I'm getting the theme of is anytime one of your fantasy players doesn't get the touchdown,
it's a vulture.
They were vultured,
yeah, they were
something
stole,
happened. Yeah.
I gotta put a crying sound on the board for next week.
Well,
just have Tommy talk. That's all you got to do.
It's so frustrating when Trevor Lawrence runs them in. I mean, it's not like it's Lamar Jackson. I mean, if I've got J.K. Dobbins,
Tommy Brady
I know,
had what 25 rushing touchdowns in his career so far.
And Lawrence is way more of an athlete than Tom Brady.
Right.
Yeah, Lawrence is a lot faster
Lawrence
than
is
Brady.
actually an athlete. His draft day picture is nothing like Tom Brady's draft day picture.
No.
Tom Brady's looks like he's going for Haagen-Dazs.
The only thing here is until Etienne or Robinson take the majority of the carries or touches, they're going to kill each other's value.
Yeah, they're both 10 point-ish maxes.
Oh, it's just terrible.
Yep.
I mean, until one of them really takes over or they decide what they want to be in Jacksonville.
That's the problem. They're trying to find their identity and they can't do it at this point in time. 1 week they're this, next week they're that. Pick one.
I mean, they put up 27 points.
Yep.
It's, you know.
But the Colts defense is not as stout as what we thought they were.
Anytime you put up 27 points in the NFL, you got a chance.
Yeah,
period. I don't care who you're
playing. One of the things that you'll notice is there are certain teams that when they play, their opponent the next week has problems. Like San Francisco, when they play a team, typically that team gets physically beaten the crap out of the next week. Tennessee does the same thing to teams where they just physically beat the crap out of. Steelers used to do this. And so one of the things that I used to look at was who was the opponent the week before when I went to make picks. And very rarely would I ever pick a team that played Tennessee the week before because they just physically got the crap beat out of them. And they were sore and stiff and that type of stuff. And I think that's what happened with the Colts defense this week, where they just, those game time decisions of, do I tackle the king or not, came back to haunt them, why they might have given up more points.
So you're saying Carolina beat the crap out of the 49ers last week?
No, I'm saying the 49ers beat the crap out of Carolina. Physically, not on the scoreboard, but physically.
Jets 27, Packers 10. Breece Hall continues to roll, churning out 20 for 116 and 1 on the ground, 2 for 5 through the air, which is really weird.
Yeah, normally he gets like 10 for 85.
Or, at least 20 or 30 yards receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Unquestioned RB1 for the Jets now.
Duh. Isn't that what I said 2 weeks ago? He'd be there at this point in time now?
Yes, you are quite the prognosticator, Karnak.
Doc Radamus.
Did I predict this or not? Yes or no?
Yes, you did. But you continually had a moving target on.
No, I said 2 weeks from now he will be that.
Yes,
and he's there.
Okay. The Packers suck. Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, they didn't combine for 100 total yards rushing and receiving.
Against the goddamn Jets.
Against the goddamn Jets. Mike Honcho, or Alan Lazard as he's commonly known, was 4 for 73 and 1, but Aaron Rodgers, he's not good right now.
He is having some issues with a overcomplicated offense for his young wide receivers, in his words. They need to dumb it down for them, folks. What they need to really do
is they needed to get Aaron Rodgers' ass into training camp and mini camp so that he could work with these young guys.
They need to get Aaron Rodgers motivated because he literally looks like the homeless bum who walked out on the field and got a jersey for some reason.
He and Tom Brady are more disinterested in playing football right now than they have ever been in their careers.
Yep. And one of the things that I will say, following the draft, you and I were talking about how great the Jets draft was. Right now, they have the number 1 and number 1 offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year on their roster, with Breece Hall and Sauce Gardner.
We're a third of the way in. We'll see how it ends up.
Sauce Gardner looked like a shutdown cornerback this last weekend against. He took whoever he was against out of the game. He even took a cheesehead, but somebody knocked it off his head.
Alan Lazard did. Yeah. Giants 24, Ravens 20. Saquon had fantasy owners everywhere worried until he scored a late TD and then had those same owners lamenting a walk-in TD he eschewed for running out the clock, finishing 22 for 83 and 1 on the ground and 3 for 12 through the air.
Yeah, Doc and I saw that one sitting, having a cold pop after the round of golf, and we're pretty sure we heard your scream when he slid.
And I had Saquon going in multiple leagues as well.
Yeah,
that would
have been another touchdown that hurt me in one league
and helped you in the other. Yeah,
so
pretty sure we heard you squeal.
He vultured his own touchdown, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He did. He stole it from himself.
He stole it from himself.
But what I really expected to do was the next play for him to score at that point in time, just so they took more time off the clock and still got in the points. But he didn't, so it didn't matter in my game or their game. So it was really, really good.
Yeah.
And the Giants looked like they're for real.
This is scary.
But they look real.
It's like a bizarro world, a Bavaro world.
Danny Dimes is a competent NFL quarterback.
No, he's not Danny Dimes anymore. He's been demoted to Danny Nichols. He is not good. He is the ultimate game manager.
Is it him or the wideouts? So they don't have a single wideout that can win and get separation ever.
Their wideouts are terrible. If I can
get to the playoffs with the game manager, I'll take it.
It's been done before.
Yeah.
Because at that point in time, as the games managers, it's a shot in the dark at that time. See how far we go.
There's something that we need to talk about there, and we'll probably talk about it next week. Because one of the things I want to bring up next week is it'll be halfway through the fantasy season, so we'll do kind of a recap of where we rank teams going.
Okay.
From preseason, but one of the things you're going to talk about is you've got 3 teams, both the New York teams and the Atlanta Falcons,
that are overproducing.
Those are 3 teams that I would have told you preseason maybe would have combined for as many wins for the whole season as they all have right now.
And the common denominator, frankly, is that game manager quarterback. I mean, yes, the Jets just got Wilson back, but look who led them here.
Flacco.
I got to tell you, I think a lot of it comes down to the coaching.
Oh, I mean, they're dialing everything down. They're simplifying it, and they're playing station to station football, and they're managing the clock. They're trying to not expose their defense, but that game manager quarterback, yeah, maybe there's something there.
And of those 3 quarterbacks, which one's performed the best so far?
Mariota.
Mariota by far. Mariota is a viable fantasy football quarterback this year.
Oh, for sure he is. Yeah.
Yeah, I just scooped him up.
Finishing up with this, Lamar 2 for 10 and 1, 7 for 77 on the ground. Of course, Mandrews 7 for 106 and 1. Neither of those characters practiced today on Wednesday. J.K. Dobbins is hurt. We don't know how much. 7 for 15.
He has a chest contusion that they expect him to be back for this next game.
Okay, well, today they were talking about his knee.
Okay.
So
it's shifted.
Yep. Which is not uncommon when you're a running back. You get beat the tar out of you.
Yeah. Kenyon Drake. The Drake is resurfaced. 10 for 119 and 1.
He looked pretty good.
He'll go away soon.
I don't know. I don't know when Gus is coming back, but right now, if you need a running back, he'll be in our pickup list. You should be picking up Kenyon Drake because he's going to at least play this week.
Mm-hmm.
Vikings 24, Dolphins 16. Justin Jefferson 6 for 107 with a TD less game. That went to Adam Thielen and Irv Smith Jr.
Dang vultures.
Who was your guy? Irv Smith Jr.
Irv Smith.
He's Tobin's guy. That's right. Dalvin Cook busted off a 53-yard touchdown in the 4th, finishing 13 for 77-1. Again, that was 12 for 22 prior to busting out for that, or 12 for 24. That's ugly. Tyreek and Waddle are showing that they don't give a damn who the quarterback is. 12 for 177 and 6 for 129. Mostly after Teddy Two Gloves came in to relieve Skylar Thompson, who left with a concussion. I don't know what it is down there in Miami, but they got head injuries.
That ground must be extra hard at Hardhead Stadium.
Yep. You got to change the name. Hardhead Stadium sounds perfect.
Mike Gesicki and his terrible Gritty caught 6 for 69, 2 touchdowns just in time for Tua to come back.
Yeah. And didn't I say pick Gesicki up? You needed tight end last week?
I think it was last year.
It was last week.
Probably was last year. I'm not buying that you got that one in there.
But tapes after the show.
The tapes, it's there.
In the shootout that should have been, Seahawks 19, Cardinals 9. The Cardinals couldn't score with Kyler. 222 through the air, 10 for 100 on the ground. Eno Benjamin did not do a good James Conner impersonation. He did not score a touchdown. And Ertz 7 for 70. Marquise Brown 5 for 68, hurt at the end of the game. I gotta say, I don't know that they should have paid Kyler at this point.
No, they should not have paid Kyler at this point in time. Not what he got. No, not even close. He is two games in a row. He has cost them being in a position to win the game or seal the game, depending upon which one we're talking about. He is not a competent. He has all the talent in the world, but he doesn't have the mental acuity at this point in time, or the knowledge, the game awareness, in order to be able to make the decisions to play.
Yeah, in that guy's defense, though, I mean, he's going to a gunfight with a knife right now with all the injuries they've had. I mean, it's a mash unit down there in Arizona.
Last week, he had to take one more step.
I get it. I totally
not spike the ball. This week,
that would have got him to overtime against the Eagles, which they probably would have lost.
Yeah, and this week, he doesn't look like he's reacting to the speed of the game at all. Arizona got a lot of money invested over the next 5 years.
Yeah, to me,
it's going to be a long 5 years, Arizona.
Yeah, to me, it really looks like his athletic ability is not able to get him out of these situations right now.
No, he too is missing most of his offensive line. He too is missing most of his offensive weapons. I mean, name an offensive weapon he has there besides Ertz.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, right
he's
now,
not there anymore.
Well, he's not there now, but he was.
I mean, Connor's out. Hopkins was out for 6. Now Marquise is out. Ertz has been hobbled all season. I mean, who are you giving the ball to?
Yeah.
I mean, he's it.
Yeah,
it's 1 against 11 out there because his O-line sucks too.
Yeah, they're all beat up.
So yeah, I feel for the guy.
All the money's tied up in him the next few years, though.
Yeah,
gonna be ugly.
For the Seahawks, Geno was worse, which is rare over the past month, but he was 187, 6 for 48. But Kenneth Walker, 21 for 97 and 2 for 13, had a touchdown on the ground. The big news here, of course, with Geno being down, that means DK and Lockett combined were 4 for 52.
Wow, that's a turd.
That's worse than a turd. That's a punch bowl waiting for it.
The other biggest surprise of the day, Steelers 20, Bucks 18. Tommy went to Bob Kraft's party / wedding Friday night. Probably thought he'd be fine. The Steelers told him to sit down and shut up. 243-1. Mike Evans disappeared again, 4 for 42. Should have been a smash spot for him. Chris Godwin got his PPR, 6 for 96. Fournette's the one that's been a monster, 21 for 63 on the ground, but 6 for 38 and another touchdown through the air.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Pickett got KTFO'd, but not before he threw his first touchdown to Najee. Claypool allegedly available in trade, so I don't know why the Packers aren't going and getting him.
Because they're smart. This is his one good game of the year. Now he's done.
Yeah, I mean, 7 for 96 and 1. I'm telling you, that big-bodied freak that is Claypool in the right system could do some serious damage. I'd rather have Claypool than Robbie Anderson.
Oh, I'd rather have Claypool than Robbie Anderson too. Claypool, but would you rather have a handful of poo or a handful of dog poo?
Neither.
And yeah, neither.
I'd rather have neither on my team if I was.
Robbie Anderson's one of those things. Claypool is neither of those things.
Really? His numbers until this game don't prove that, do they?
Okay. Falcons 28, 49ers 14. The 49ers stayed on the East Coast and ran into a buzzsaw. Ayuk, of course, showed out 8 for 83 and 2 because I sat him everywhere.
You and me both, brother.
And I dropped him in a league. So we gave him the kiss
shows
of
you
death.
exactly what we know. We gave him the reverse kiss of death.
Debo was good, 2 for 11 rushing, 7 for 79 through the air, but not close to enough what you're expecting out of Debo. Mariota, not great through the air, 129 and 2 to Pitts, who doubled his career TDs and his first in America.
Yes.
And Mike Pruitt, the backup tight end late of the Titans also, I believe. Like we talked about, Mariota also ran for a TD.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think he's the number 13 QB.
And turn into Jalen Hurts light.
Well, Mariota, he got drafted number 2 by the Titans. He had 5 offensive coordinators, 3 head coaches in the 5 years he was with us. He was not given a chance to have any continuity associated with it. Now he's going back to one of those offensive coordinators who's now his head coach. And as the season progressed, I think you're going to see Mariota's numbers get better and better. And Mariota might actually live up to his potential when he was the number 2 pick in the draft 7 years ago.
Yeah.
He's going to be there with him for a little while.
Yeah, maybe.
There ain't nobody pushing him.
This may be a situation too where even down the road they have to look at moving to see what they've got in Desmond Ridder, just to see if they need to trade up in the draft.
Oh,
I mean,
Mariota's going to get niggled up, and he's going to get knocked out of a game, or he might miss a game coming up, but they can figure out what they got in Ryder. But Mariota's the starting quarterback this year and next year at this point in time.
Yeah, I don't see him being the starter next year. I think he's a career backup.
Really? He takes them to playoffs. They're going to trade him in for a new model?
Yeah, he's not taking
They're 3-3 right now.
Okay. Check with me in November.
Well, we both talked about we expected the Panthers to be better than what they are. Arizona looks like what we expected the Panthers to be in that division, which is nobody's running away with that division right now. There's no dominant team in the NFC South.
Yeah, I'll still take the Bucks in there. I mean, I think the Bucks.
Well, why I don't disagree with you there. Why I don't disagree with you. What I'm saying is they could very easily go 3-3 in division or 4-2.
Yeah, there's not an extra seat. So because right now the Eagles, the Giants, the Cowboys are all making the playoffs. The Vikings are making the playoffs. You're
going to get one each out of the South and the West.
Well, I mean, one of the West teams, whether it's the Rams or the Cardinals, will join the 49ers in the playoffs. Probably the Rams.
I'm not saying the Rams or the Cardinals are going to be there.
I don't know. That NFC West, you've got all the 3-3s, and then the Cardinals at 2-4, and that's a quagmire out there.
Yeah,
the Falcons are 3-3.
I mean, the South's the same way.
Yeah.
So,
I don't. The Giants are good, but I don't think they're. I think they're playing well above what they are, and whether they come crashing back to ground here soon, we don't know about.
All they do is come back in the fourth quarter. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, they beat Tennessee in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, right now you've got 3 teams out of the East in the playoffs, and I don't see it changing.
It was like 5 minutes to go, and Baltimore was in control, and then all of a sudden they weren't.
Mm-hmm. I just think that the Falcons could surprise people and make the playoffs as a wild card team, and if they do,
you want to put $10 on it?
I'll put $10 on them. I'll put
lunch on it.
Matt O'Malley's lunch. You got
perfect. O'Malley's.
You'll be getting chicken wings, which are currently very expensive.
Yeah, I'm going for the all-you-can-eat chicken wing that day.
There you go. Rams 24, Panthers 10. The Rams nearly coasted in this one, effectively benching Cam Akers for Darrell Henderson, who was 12 for 43 and 1 and 2 for 9, which was not the smash that we expected it to be. Cooper Kupp was merely human, going 7 for 80 and 2 for 17 rushing. He looks like he's breaking down to me. I know people don't want to hear this. You don't want to think about it, but he is looking off. The bye week couldn't come at a better time.
Well, I don't think he necessarily looks off. I think Stafford looks off and doesn't throw him open like he did last year, earlier in the year.
Well, and all the focus on the defensive side's going towards him because there's nobody else that's a threat right now.
Exactly, and that's why I don't think the Rams are going to be what we thought they were going into the season, unless they sign OBJ or your boy Allen Robinson actually continues appearing in games like he did this last weekend.
He will, because Tommy cut him.
Yeah, I cut him in a couple leagues, so of course he was 5 for 63 with a touchdown.
What you're saying is I need to convince you to pick up players the Titans are playing the week before.
Yes, you need anybody you want to go off. You need to have me pick them up and cut them.
Can you pick up Ryan Tannehill and drop him for me?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I did cut him in the Survivor League that we're in, remember, originally. He was my starter originally until...
I think I picked him up this week to tell you. No, I picked up Matt Ryan in that league, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think you picked up both, actually, but...
I might have. Josh Allen's out, so I need a quarterback.
For the Panthers, CMC, 13 for 69 on the ground, 7 for 89 through the air. Their only score for the Carolina Panthers came on a pick 6. Of course they did.
Matt Stafford threw 2 touchdown passes this past week.
He did.
One to each team. What a guy.
Right. He's an equal opportunity giver. Weekly picks, Doc and Tobin were 8-6. I was 7-7. That means Tobin is way out in the lead, 51 and 29.
Lead over us.
Yeah.
Doc and I are now tied at 43 and 35.
What a degenerate he is.
I'm not going to pull a Mets or a Yankees and just tank a whole month and let you guys come back. Sorry.
We need to tank 1 week. We need 1 week of negativity for you.
Good luck.
But the problem with that is I don't want you to lose money on any of your degenerate bets as well.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. You know, we bet $10 on playoff game earlier.
Yeah.
Or lunch. I don't want you to lose any of those things for us.
Yeah, I got to eat lunch, man.
I don't disagree.
Somebody has to. All right, we're going to take a quick break here and then come back with Waiver Wire Star Sits.
I don't want you to lose any of those bets based upon that, so I want you to...
Welcome to War Squared and have your lineup locked in for the week. And Media Productions. We invite you to go over and check out 3 Dogs and a Dude. It's a podcast inspired by 3 crazy rescue dogs and their dude who like having conversations with interesting people. You never know who might pop into the studio as a guest, and we guarantee some laughs. Check out 3 Dogs and a Dude wherever you get your podcasts. Indian Media Productions is your one-stop shop for all of your media creation needs. Whether it's producing a podcast like the one you're listening to, or maybe you just need some video for your social media and websites, sales and promotional videos, or even TV commercials, we've got you covered. Check us out at IndianMediaPro.com.
All right, we'll jump back in here. Remember, we have bye weeks again this week, and really this week we've got major bye weeks. You're talking about the Rams, the Vikings, the Eagles,
and the Bills. Yep. There are some teams that don't have any players on their roster because they drafted those 4 teams only.
But I like that strategy.
Unless you're in an eliminator league, yes.
I like the strategy of punting a week.
I don't disagree unless you're in an eliminator league like I am, where I lost my top 3 players, which means I'm the number 1 team in the league record wise and number 3 scoring wise, and I'm probably the person going to get eliminated from the league this week because of that reason.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a hammer.
And that was when we didn't draft. That was an auto draft league for us.
Oh, and it's the weirdest thing. I've never understood the players that I get in there because I'm like, no. I would have much rather had Saquon Barkley instead of Jamar Chase because the running back is so much more important. And I said that until this week when I had Jamar Chase in that league and go off for like 30-some points.
Yep. I've been surviving that league because I have Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson, and the running back from the Lions.
Swift or Williams?
Williams has been doing so well.
So what I'm hearing is, he gone.
More than likely, I'm predicting right now that I'm gone unless a miracle takes place. I'm projected to survive because there's 3 teams that are projected to be lower than me. However,
so it's the lowest point total for the week.
You're gone. Punted. No matter what you've done all year long. If you score 79 and everybody else scores 80 or more, you gone.
Yeah.
All right.
It's pretty fun.
That's fun.
It's actually a very fun league, but it's very frustrating because it's like I haven't been able to pick up anybody that's been anything because you pick up the waiver wires the lowest picks first and the highest picks last. I've been number 1, 2, or 3 all year, so I haven't got anybody out the waiver wire that's worth starting whatsoever. And if Josh Allen or these guys would have had 4 weeks from now, this would have taken place. I would have had some people there, but now I don't have any depth, so I'm just kind of going, poking a hope.
Yep, front row. Waiver as I put Deion Jackson on top, and really Deion Jackson. If you've got Jonathan Taylor, you have to have this guy. He's the insurance for Jonathan Taylor. I put Latavius Murray second. This was finding out that Melvin Gordon is going to start again. I'm still not sure it's not a good move.
Well, I think he's going to play 1 series, and Latavius Murray's going to come out when
he's going to drop the ball again.
When Gordon fumbles.
And he done.
Yeah, I was going to say when he fumbles, he's done.
just straight to the locker room.
I mean,
remember the old Lester Hayes for Oakland to stick him. Melvin Gordon's going to walk out like that. He's going to be just. I can't shake your hand because we'll be stuck together the rest of the game.
He's going to look. What's the wide receiver's name in the replacements?
Yeah.
I can't say what he called him, but wow.
It looked like an elephant.
An elephant. Yeah.
Number 3, Alec Pierce. I just think he's going to continue to get more and more looks from Matt Ryan, especially as they probably double team Michael Pittman after his 13 for 134 performance.
Double, triple.
Yeah, he's one that if he's still available, as you guys often say, we want to get in that league.
Right.
I mean, he should have been gone weeks ago.
I don't disagree.
Especially a PPR league.
Yes.
Rondale Moore, because he's one of the only guys out there.
Who else is he going to throw the ball to?
Yeah. I love that you have Rondale and Wandale sequentially here. This is awesome.
I do. Of course, Wandale Robinson for the Giants because, again,
he's the number 1 wide receiver.
He's the
only nothing else in the cupboard.
Number 7.
Kadarius Toney, Kenny Galladay, both not practicing today. Shocker. Number 6, Kenyon Drake. If you need a running back this week, he is the best pickup because he's going to start and he's going to get the majority of the work. He may get 15 or 20 carries.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I am saying there's a chance. Number 7, I still like Corey Davis. Zach Wilson, other than Milfs, has eyes for Corey Davis.
He had 4 targets, 2 catches, 52 yards. You got to, I've been a fan of Corey Davis since, 7 years ago. I think he's the number 1 wide receiver in New York at this point in time. And it's going to do nothing but get better, especially when they start keying on Bryce Hall and starting to shut down the running game.
It's Brees
Hall.
For those of you keeping score
Brees
at home
Hall.
here in Wichita.
It's Brees Hall. You're right. I've mispronounced it.
I mean, for the love of God, you should have to trade him to me just for that.
I will as long as you give me what I want.
CMC and Aaron Jones.
Perfect. Done.
No.
Wow.
I said what I want, not what you want.
Oh, all right. Well, moving along.
No, I'm not taking Dalvin Cook for him either.
Okay. Marcus Mariota, I put him on here just
He's
like
gotta
we
be
talked
on there.
about. Until he stops getting rushing touchdowns, which remember, this is the big thing that's separating quarterbacks in fantasy right now, is their rushing yards. That's why Derek Carr is a fringe top 10 quarterback because, yes, he'll throw for 2 touchdowns and he'll throw for 250 to 300 yards, but he may only have 5 or 10 yards rushing.
Yes. If he had 40 or 50 yards rushing or a touchdown with 20 yards, he'd be a top 10 fantasy quarterback.
And again, if you're in, had balls.
Well, if he had anybody else but Devontae Adams to throw the football to, he'd be a lot better off too.
Well, there's that.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's true because I am now on the dock. I hate Darren Waller bandwagon.
No, I don't hate Darren Waller. I just think
I
he's
hate
done.
Darren Waller right now. He's terrible.
I told you that
Horrible.
last year and you didn't listen.
I didn't. I expected
Dumbass.
With Josh McDaniels that he would have the tight end bump that Gronk and everybody else has gotten.
He's not very smart, is he? And what do we always say here?
Wait for it.
Tommy's always wrong.
Thank you very little. Number 9, Matt Ryan. How do you offset rushing yards? You throw for 400 and 3 or more touchdowns.
That's why I picked him up in 2 leagues this last week.
I mean, and as Doc said, they do play the Titans this week, so there could be an aerial bombardment in Nashville.
Tobin could be the starting quarterback for the Colts and throw for 400 yards against the Titans.
I think I might still be able to move as well as Matt Ryan, too.
Oh, that
your arm's probably better still.
Number 10, well, I'm going to keep Irv Smith on here until people start picking this guy up. He's still, I think, under 30% ownership.
Tobin's big tight end pickup.
I've been on him early. I had him last year and he got hurt.
Yep.
And his backup actually did well for him. But Irv, I mean, dude's a monster.
Yep.
I have Rashad White. He's available in 71% of the leagues. And looking at Fournette's track record, he's going to break down soon.
Oh, it's coming.
Rashad White is certainly a stash because of that very reason. Because as soon as Fournette breaks down, they're going to need somebody, and he's going to go right into the role.
I have Jamison Williams on here, even though he's not going to be activated this year. He's still somebody you want to pick up and stash because if you make the playoffs, he could be the difference between you advancing and you going home.
Yeah, now Dan Campbell came out today saying they're in no rush to get him back on the field. He's not practicing yet with the team.
He can't tell they activate him off the pup.
They are still in a wait and see. You know, if they rip off 4 or 5 wins here,
not going to happen. It's Detroit. No, let's be honest. They're playing for next year.
Yeah,
which
as a Jamison Williams fan in dynasty leagues, I'm happy with. But that being said, he's going to be on the field in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and when he hits the field, he's going to be a game changer for that offense, which is already high powered. It's going to make it even more high powered at that point in time. It's just going to come down to whether their defense can stop anybody, who wins games and who loses games.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that we'll see him before Thanksgiving.
That's a possibility. Yeah. I also have Kenyon
Kyron Williams.
Nope. Keontae Ingram.
Oh, Keontae Ingram. Mm-hmm.
Jalen Warner, Mike Gesicki, and Daniel Jones if you need a quarterback.
You cannot pick up Danny Nichols.
There are some leagues where he is the top ranked quarterback that you can pick up. If you need one, he's probably the top ranked one if you're in a 12 to 14 man league.
Ugh.
I might play without a quarterback before I pick him up.
Put Taysom in.
I don't think he's eligible yet.
And Isaiah Pacheco from...
You got to learn to say that dude's name.
Yeah, I do.
Pacheco.
Because he's going to be around for a while, I think.
I don't disagree. And I think that he's going to be the running back you want going forward in Kansas City.
Oh,
Yeah, if you're in a dynasty league, he's the guy.
And I think he's the running back you want going forward this year as well.
No, they're gonna ride it out with CEH.
No, they've got to get out the CEH bandwagon because he's killing them.
You're going to see CEH McKinnon combo a lot.
Yep.
You'll see Pacheco some, but it's going to be a committee.
But he's
right
killing them. Okay, my top 5 quarterbacks are Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Herbert. Even though I've been bad mouthing him earlier, you still got to rank him. They're just based upon talent. And is Keenan Allen coming back? If he does, he gets better.
He's supposed to this week.
Yeah, Geno Smith and Dak Prescott, because I think Dak Prescott's going to come out and show what they missed with not having the lineup the last 5
Did I
weeks.
really not hear Patrick Mahomes on that list?
You're right. You didn't hear Patrick Mahomes on that list.
Geno Smith, and who was your last one? Dak Prescott?
You didn't hear Patrick Mahomes on this.
What is in that cup you brought in the studio?
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you high? Yeah, thank you very much. I put Patrick Mahomes first on my list because he's Patrick Mahomes and because the 49ers defense is hurting right now. And if they let Marcus Mariota do that type of damage to him, Pat's going to kill him.
Playing at home on turf.
First rematch since the Super Bowl.
I think the 49ers defensive line is going to dominate the game and make Patrick Mahomes rush for 398 yards again.
Well, that was the Buccaneers that made him do that. I don't think that that's going to happen, especially with all the injuries for San Francisco's defense. Travarius Ward is probably going to be out. At best, he's going to be limited. Nick Bosa was limited today. I don't like their chances there. My number 2, Lamar Jackson. My number 3 is Aaron Rodgers. If he can't light up the Commanders,
he done.
Commanders defense.
All your Packers. Get rid of all
defensive
of them.
line is going to control the game and make him look like what the Jets made him look like last week.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. Justin Herbert and then Joe Burrow. Justin Herbert, they play Seattle. We're probably going to get the shootout that we deserved last week.
Oh, God, I hope so.
And then Joe Burrow, they get Atlanta this week, but it's in Cincinnati. It's a matter of time before they start getting hot. So this
got hot last week. Are they going to stay hot this week?
That's right. Will they stay hot? At running back, I'm going with Derrick Henry first. I think he's going to kill the Colts. Nick Chubb, he should do okay against Baltimore.
Hand him the damn ball.
He normally tears up Baltimore.
Hand him the damn ball.
Normally he's about a 25 to 30 attempts, about 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. Breece Hall, until further notice, Breece Hall is going to be ranked in the top 5 because he's breaking off long runs every single game. He looks like the fastest guy on the field. It's wild. Saquon Barkley, you have to put him here because what else the Giants got?
You mean the Chargers?
No, Saquon Barkley. What else?
You said Austin Eckler, didn't? I'm sorry.
Nope. I was getting ready to say Austin Eckler, I thought. But Austin Eckler is the next one. He's got to tear up the.
Well, he's going to get 9 catches no matter what he does. That's 9 points right there for fantasy owners.
My concern with Eckler is that dude gets hit a lot. He does not make. You look at some of these guys. You look like Breece Hall.
He doesn't.
You don't get a square shot on him. You don't get a full hit.
Yep.
Eckler. When I was watching that game the other night, that dude takes more 100% hits than anybody in the league right now.
One of the things
he's
about
little.
Yes, he's not big.
About Russ Wilson. Russ Wilson never used to get squared up.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting squared up every game right now.
Yeah. So that's my concern with Eckler. We'll see how durable he is.
Yeah. Well, my top 5 is the exact same top 5.
All right.
Henry. People make career decisions tackling him. They're not going to the Colts. Nick Chubb, hand him the damn ball. He's going to be your number 1 running back if you hand him the damn ball. Breece Hall is looking like he might be the second coming of his uncle, Roger Craig.
Is that really his uncle?
It's really his uncle.
Oh, that's interesting.
Saquon is Saquon. He's healthy. And Austin Eckler, like I said, he's going to get 9 catches a game. There's 9 points. He's going to get 9 catches for 12 yards, but it's going to be 9 points.
That'll be 10.
Yeah. With the yardage, you're right. My wide receivers are Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, and Jason Waddle.
Yeah, I'm going with Chase. I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb because they play Detroit, and Dak being back, I think they're going to take the long shots that they haven't been taking with Cooper Rush. I've got to go with Devontae Adams. He gets Derek Stingley Jr., who has been giving up the plays in Houston.
Like a massage therapist in Houston?
You've got to go with Tyreek Hill. He is on pace to break Calvin Johnson's receiving yardage record. And then I like Mike Williams. I know that the Broncos shut him down because they basically double and cloud coveraged him with Pat Surtain and a safety. And they tried one big pass in the fourth quarter to Mike Williams, and Mike Williams almost made an incredible diving
literally
catch.
One of three ways. That's a phenomenal catch.
If he doesn't Dorothy and click his heels together, he gets both feet down.
Mm-hmm.
They need to do that with Mike Williams. They've got to take
at least twice a game,
a shot a quarter.
I can buy that.
Williams.
Yep.
We'll move on to tight end. We know who the top two are, so we'll just move right on to Ertz, Kittle, and Hawkinson.
I got the same five.
Yeah.
You don't see anybody else rated that high.
Sleepers, I go with Tony Pollard. I think he can tear up the Lions. I'm going with Ramondre Stevenson to tear up the Bears. I'm going to go back to the well one last time with James Robinson. If he doesn't score here against the Giants, then I'm going to write him off for the rest of the year.
I need to get a vulture sounder on here too.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, crying baby and a vulture.
Just for Tommy.
Alec Pierce, I think he's the one that's going to tear up the Titans. I don't think it's going to be Pittman. And then I love Dameon Pierce for the Texans.
My sleeper, only got one. Corey Davis, I think, is going to have an outstanding week. Other than that, I think you covered everything with the sleepers. Now, let's talk about some fantasy football leagues. How does that sound, boys?
Well, we're running short on time. We should probably just wrap this show and go straight to the bonus segment. What do you think, Tommy?
I just saw this. How many beat me in fantasy football games this week? Hold your hand up. Anybody have a 1? Oh, look, we have an 0 for 2 sitting in front of me rather than a 2-0 like I am.
So we'll start with the Dynasty League, or the War Square Dynasty League. Doc beat Tobin handily, although as Tobin and I discussed at lunch today, Tobin is getting thumped every week.
Oh, he's getting.
I mean, he's the 5th highest scoring team, and he's routinely being outscored by 30 points.
Oh, he's got that bad luck cloud sitting over him right now in this league, like I had last year.
The next nearest point scored against is 50 points behind me.
Yeah.
Every week. It's every week. I told you that when we were sitting there. Every week, somebody's having 2 dudes go off for 30 points, and it's just.
Yeah. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you get one.
5th in the league in scoring and dead freaking last. Good news is I can eat me some pancakes if I have to.
You can eat some pancakes. And the other good news is we'll both be there to help you.
That a boy.
That's all right. Now, Tobin did go to the Billy Carnival of Trades.
Well, I had to because he said, remember a couple weeks ago, he said he's done trading. He was done.
Right.
Didn't
It's not the Colonel. It's the will of misfortune when you trade with Billy.
Hold my beer. We're going to get a deal done.
So basically, Tobin traded CEH and 2 firsts to Billy for CMC and 2 seconds.
Yes.
Now, I get both sides of it. For Tobin, I mean, Billy just keeps giving him his 5th and 6th best guys. And so Tobin is taking guys that are mediocre to not good, with the exception of Justin Jefferson, and giving them to Billy, who is then doing, trying to Rapunzel them into gold and get whatever he can for them, I guess. But in the meantime, Tobin is, in a nutshell, giving up Justin Jefferson and CEH for Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, Chris Godwin, and Brandon Ayuk.
And some draft picks.
I gave the 2 draft picks I gave him were his original that he gave me in the Jefferson deal. And in exchange for that, I got his number 2s, which right now, as things sit,
are the first pick in the draft.
I believe his 1 that he got back is the last pick of the first round, and his 2 is the next pick.
He's now number 9. I've moved the number. Actually, he's number 8. I've moved the number 9 spot behind Seth.
Okay.
So
you're talking 2 picks.
Yeah.
The other thing that I like about it, of course, on Billy's side is we don't know how long CMC is going to last. Until you're going to ride him into the ground, but I'd like to have those picks for him too, and maybe he, parlays CEH into more picks. I don't know, or into somebody else, packages them with somebody and get somebody else, whatever. But he doesn't need CMC now because, bless you, because Derrick Henry comes back. Bless you. And
I'm allergic to bullshit.
Are you done? And DeAndre Swift is coming back. So I wouldn't play CMC over either of those guys if they're healthy.
Okay, so you beat Zane.
I did.
Seth got rolled with the Trogs.
He destroyed the Trogs.
Mr. Projector himself got beat.
Wow.
Actually
played shorthanded.
Yeah.
2 guys in the penalty box.
So on Saturday, Nyheim Hines and Marvin Jones both got ruled out. Well, Ross.
He was at the lake.
Ross was at the lake, so he's not checking his phone or doing anything like that. So he left him in and got destroyed. So, yeah. Okay,
Priorities. His were in alignment with what his life is, not what his.
Right. In the BNI League, I left a win against Randy on the bench by sitting Ayuk for Curtis Samuel. Doc beat down Joe, who he had to do to keep close to Joe in your division.
Mm-hmm. Now there's 4 of us tied for first place at 4-2 in that division.
And Tobin was thrashed by Brandon.
Yeah, I set a new league record for low scoring, I think.
Brandon.
I'm seeing a record here. You like getting thrashed is what I hear.
There was a rough week in my neck of the woods.
I mean, were you lost in the woods in Washington or Oregon?
Well, yeah, I must have been.
And the most important thing is the projector, otherwise known as Ross, is now in first place as he thumped Tommy.
No, he beat me last week.
Oh,
so we're tied at the top of our division. But since he beat me last week, he's technically in first.
It's funny because we had several players in the draft who were complaining about his draft picks. How can he do this? He's in first place, and both those 2 guys are hovering towards the bottom of the league.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, let's roll through mine real quick. Justin Herbert, 8.4 points. Aaron Jones, 7.4. Eno Benjamin, 9.5. That's an upgrade. Jefferson, the only dude that actually showed up for the week, 16.7. DK, 5.4. Cameron Brate, 3.4, which is an emergency pickup because I have Hawkinson. And then Sutton, 3.4. 54.2 points.
What I'm picking up here is anytime Tommy cuts a player, you need to pick him up.
Clearly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, we figured out how to fix Tobin's fantasy team.
There you go. In the Scott Fish Bowl, I lost by 30 thanks to Wentz having 0.16 points.
That sounds like my roster.
He was my only quarterback this week. The good news, I set a perfect lineup.
Yeah, and still got your ass thumped, didn't you?
Got destroyed because I had that 0.16 at the top.
Perfect lineup. That's awesome.
I left literally 0 points on the bench. Every person on my bench scored 0. Now, most of it is because they didn't play.
Like Darren Waller.
Right.
There goes your perfect score right down.
I'm drafting for you next. If we get in the Fishbowl League next year, I'm drafting for us, not you.
One thing that I found out too is this league is only 11 weeks. I thought it was 14.
You haven't been paying attention?
It's only 11 weeks until the top players then move on to the.
So you've been eliminated from playoffs already, right?
No, not yet.
Okay, next week.
If I get thumped this week, yeah, probably. In the Agents League, Doc killed me this week behind monster games from Saquon, Jamar Chase, Mark Andrews, and Breece Hall. Brad crapped down his leg and let Nick smash him, so thanks for nothing, Brad. I get to play Brad this week, and I'm going to destroy him.
Whatever.
Yep. And Freddie and Toby both won, so that sucks. That gets them a little bit higher in my division. But in Doc's division, Doc versus Wardo looks like it's inevitable at this point.
Yeah, consider I had Derrick Henry on the bench last week. Didn't need him. I had Breece Hall instead.
No, you didn't need him.
He'll be my carryover pick for the number. He'll be my second round draft pick next year in Breece Hall.
Yeah. Nick Chubb will be my second
and my
draft pick.
Third round draft pick will be, I believe it's going to be Saquon Barkley. It'll be my first pick in the draft next year.
Nice.
It'll be a nice duo to walk in with.
Yeah.
And with that,
we're out of here. We'll come back in a little bit for the bonus segment. Thanks, everybody. Peace out.